S10 Plus that Samsung just announced. Or maybe you're thinking of buying the S9 Plus now that the S10 is out so you can get a better deal. Which one should you buy? We're comparing them both here to find out. Starting with the back, you can already see a huge difference in design between the two phones. They're about similar in size, but of course the camera module is no longer vertical like the S9 Plus over on the left. Instead, now you have a horizontal camera setup, and that's quite similar to the Galaxy Note. Of course, you can also see there's two cameras in the S9 Plus, whereas the S10 Plus has triple cameras. So one of the cameras is a 16-megapixel ultra-wide camera, which is paired by the same exact 12-megapixel standard lens with a variable aperture and a 12-megapixel telephoto lens. Those two are the same as the ones on the S9 Plus, so really that extra ultra-wide 16-megapixel camera is what's new there. Gone is also the fingerprint sensor, which leaves a pretty minimal-looking back on the back of the S10 Plus. It's now built underneath the display here. It's called an ultrasonic in-display fingerprint sensor, and now you can unlock the phone just by tapping this area, and boom, voila, it's unlocked. Of course, if you want a better visualization, that's what it looks like. And all you need to do is place your finger there and it unlocks. And that's super secure, more secure than the fingerprint sensor on the Galaxy S9 Plus. So you can use it for payments with Samsung Pay, and it's FIDO Alliance approved. So now going to the displays, it's a 6.2-inch AMOLED screen on the S9 Plus, but it's a 6.4-inch dynamic AMOLED on the S10 Plus. The S10's screen is HDR10 Plus certified, so you're getting better colors and a sharper screen in general. But also take a look at the top and you'll see that hole punch camera, which is also known as the Infinity O display. That's something new that's on the S10 Plus. Essentially, Samsung has gotten rid of the bezels around the top and the bottom, slimmed them down to be able to put the camera so that it looks like a hole punch on a piece of paper. It's basically floating. And that has the benefit of giving you that slightly bigger screen size, 6.4 again versus 6.2 on the S9 Plus. The Galaxy S10 Plus now also natively reduces blue light exposure by 42%, and that's all done without needing some kind of yellow filter. So blue light exposure at night can lead to disruptions in your sleep, which can affect your health, so having that natively built into the screen is a plus. So I'm going to open the camera app on both phones. Now check out this cool little animation that's going to pop up on the top right of the hole punch camera on the S10 Plus. That's a pretty neat feature that you can't have on this phone because it's not a dynamic AMOLED screen. Now over to the cameras, since we're over here in the selfie cameras, obviously the S10 Plus has an extra camera here on the front, whereas you're only getting that single camera on the S9. Regardless, the S9 Plus's camera is worse than the S10 Plus's because it's a 10 megapixel camera on here on the S10 Plus, and that second camera is an 8 megapixel camera, but that's only for depth. So you're getting better live focus, which is essentially Samsung's portrait mode. So like snapping a photo, you can definitely expect the S10 Plus to produce a better image. Of course, that's not the best example, but of course you can also use live focus to get better portrait mode effects, even though live focus is also available here on the S9 Plus as well. And quickly, if we flip over the cameras, you can see, going back to normal photo mode, this is the only two lenses you can swap to on the S9 Plus, and here are all three cameras now that you can swap to on the S10 Plus, including the new ultra-wide. And what's neat is you can actually slide and just keep going throughout all of them instead of just tapping on each new lens. Both phones run Android Pie now. The S9 Plus just got the update very recently in the US, but that update brought One UI, which is Samsung's new user interface. So you're getting more stuff to access here on the bottom part of the screen rather than at the top. And you're also getting dark mode options so that you don't have to deal with bright white settings, especially when you open the phone and use it at night. But otherwise, you're getting a pretty similar experience across the board in terms of software. It's just that the S10 Plus will likely be supported for a longer period of time, so it'll likely get Android Q as well as next year's Android version. Specs-wise, there are also just major upgrades as well on the S10 Plus. You're getting a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor, so you're getting much improved speeds. And there's 8 gigs of RAM here in the S10 Plus version versus the Snapdragon 845 on the S9 Plus and 4 gigs of RAM. There is also an 12 gigs of RAM option on the S10 Plus if you opt for the 512 gigabytes version or the 1 terabyte option. The Galaxy S10 Plus has a bigger battery. It's a 4100 mAh battery as opposed to the 3500 mAh battery on the S9 Plus. They both support wireless charging, but there's a new feature called wireless power share that lets you charge other devices, other Qi-enabled devices, with the back of the phone. So all you need to do is place another Qi-enabled product on the back of the S10 Plus and it'll just start charging. There you go. So that's a quick look at the Galaxy S10 Plus and the Galaxy S9 Plus. Now the Galaxy S10 Plus has a couple new features as well. There's Wi-Fi 6, which is the next generation Wi-Fi technology. There's a couple new AI upgrades in the camera as well and in the software. And it also supports a vapor chamber cooling system for better heat dissipation, so you can have slightly better performance over the Galaxy S10. Of course, the prices are also different. This originally launched at $840, but you can obviously find it for a lot cheaper now. But the Galaxy S10 Plus will set you back $1,000. It does come with a little more storage than this one did initially, so there is that to consider. But overall, we think the features in the new Galaxy S10 Plus are definitely worth the money, but we'll be doing a full review to find out. Samsung's going big for the 10th anniversary of its Galaxy smartphones. Rather than going with the usual 2-phone lineup, this year we're being treated to 4 Galaxy S series devices: the Galaxy S10, the S10 Plus, the S10e, a new entry, and the S10 5G. Let's start with the S10 and S10 Plus. The two phones now share more features than ever before. For example, they both have the same exact triple camera setup. It means your purchasing decision really does come down to your size preference in a phone. Want the 6.1-inch S10? Go ahead, you won't have to worry about compromising on features. The S10 Plus has a 6.4-inch screen, and both have Quad HD Plus screen resolutions, though the S10 is slightly sharper because it has a smaller screen with a higher pixel density. The bezels have been shaved down even further to provide an impressive 93.1% screen-to-body ratio, and that's largely thanks to Samsung's Infinity O display, which is what it's calling the floating selfie camera on the top right of the phones. It's also known as a hole punch camera, as it looks like a hole punch on a piece of paper. It makes the notification bar slightly thicker, but I haven't found it to be distracting when using it with other apps. It looks better than phones with notches, in my opinion, and while a true bezel-less screen would be ideal, I think the Infinity O screen looks pretty futuristic. Samsung has outfitted a new screen technology in these phones called the all-new Dynamic AMOLED Display. The features include HDR10 Plus certification, which means you're getting incredibly accurate colors and crisper image quality, and the screen also natively blocks more blue light, which is handy as taking in blue light from screens at night can affect your sleep, which in turn can affect your health. The back of the phone looks bare, largely holding the triple camera setup with minimal camera bump in a horizontal fashion. Where's the fingerprint sensor? It's replaced with a new technology, an ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, which is embedded under the display on the front. We've seen in-display fingerprint scanners before on phones like the OnePlus 6T, but Samsung's version is using different technology that captures 3D contours of thumb and fingerprints. Samsung said it's more secure than ever, it has a FIDO Alliance biometric component certification to prove so, and there are also anti-spoofing mechanisms in place to keep it secure. This data also never leaves the phone, so you don't need to worry about it being stored in the cloud. It's more reliable than most of the in-display fingerprint scanners we've seen to date, and it's pretty fast. You can use this scanner to authenticate payments with Samsung Pay. This is now, though, the only secure biometric authentication tool on the new S10 and S10 Plus. Gone is the iris scanner. Face Unlock is still available, but it's not secure and meant more for convenience. Otherwise, the phones don't seem too different build-wise over last year's S9 and S9 Plus. The S10 Plus is tall and may need 2 hands for comfortable use, but the S10 is more manageable. There's glass on both the front and back as usual, and in case you're worried about screen protectors affecting the fingerprint sensor, Samsung said protectors will need to be certified by the company to work properly with ultrasonic tech, so make sure you grab the right ones. It's also worth noting that the 512GB and 1TB versions of the Galaxy S10 Plus come exclusively in a white or black ceramic backplate, as a commemoration of the 10-year anniversary. Ceramic has better scratch resistance and durability, on top of feeling more luxurious. There's still a headphone jack on the bottom of the phone, which is nice, next to the USB-C port. The Bixby button is sadly still here, and the stereo speakers are tuned by AKG and feature Dolby Atmos support, though we haven't tested them quite yet. The S10 and S10 Plus are powered by Qualcomm's Snapdragon 855 processor, so you should get fantastic performance. Both have 8 gigs of RAM, but the 1TB S10 Plus model has a whopping 12 gigs of RAM. They support micro SD card slots as well if you need more space. The phones are running Android 9 Pie with Samsung's new One UI interface, where there are now darker themes and critical elements of the interface are now positioned in the bottom half of the phone for easier access. There aren't a ton of new software features, but Samsung did say you can expect faster app launch times as the phone will learn your habits and preload apps before it thinks you will use them. Over to the camera, the S10 and S10 Plus have the same two cameras as last year's S9 Plus. A standard 12-megapixel lens with an f1.5 to 2.4 variable aperture is paired with a 12-megapixel telephoto lens with an f2.4 aperture for 2x optical zoom. There's now a new 16-megapixel ultra-wide-angle f2.2 lens, which makes the camera more versatile as you can now capture more in a single photo. Scene Optimizer, which recognizes scenes to enhance photos using artificial intelligence, now supports 10 more scenes such as dogs, cats, and babies. There's also a feature in the camera app called Shot Suggestions, which can let you know when the camera is tilted so you can save yourself the hassle of straightening it later on. In terms of video recording, Samsung said the phones support super steady video capture, and they can also capture footage in HDR10+. The front hole punch camera is a 10-megapixel lens with a f1.9 aperture, and what's impressive is it can capture 4K UHD content. It's just a solo camera on the S10, but the Plus has a second 8-megapixel lens with the f2.2 aperture. This is just used for depth for better portrait mode selfies. The S10 has a 3400 mAh battery, but the S10 Plus gets a beefy 4100 mAh capacity. Sadly, the phones still only support Qualcomm's Quick Charge 2.0 fast charging technology, so it may take a while to juice it back up. Now over to the Galaxy S10e, you're getting many of the same features as the standard S10. The key differences are that it does not have an edge display, so the sides of the phone don't curve. There's a 5.8-inch screen with no in-display fingerprint scanner. Instead, there's a capacitive one indented on the right of the phone. There's only a full HD Plus resolution, the base model has 6 gigs of RAM, there's a smaller 3100 mAh battery, and you won't find the telephoto lens here, just the ultra-wide angle paired with the standard one. Finally, the Galaxy S10 5G shares almost the same qualities as the S10 Plus, but it's much bigger with a 6.7-inch screen, though Samsung said it's still around the same dimensions as the Galaxy Note 9. So when can you get one of these phones? Pre-orders on the S10, S10 Plus, and S10e start February 21st, and the phones ship March 8th. The S10e starts at $750, the S10 costs $900, and the S10 Plus will set you back $1,000. We don't know what the Galaxy S10 5G will cost, but it will arrive in the second quarter of the year as a Verizon exclusive, but will soon be available on all the other major carrier networks in the US. The S10 and S10 Plus specifically seem like the phones to buy, as they have everything and anything you'd want in a phone. But if the price is too high, the S10e is a compelling offer. There's no need to rush to buy the Galaxy S10 5G, as there won't be any kind of nationwide 5G service for quite some time.